Good morning, everybody. We're in Maseches Gittin, Daf Zayin Amud Aleph in the Bavli, 10 lines from the top. Shalach le Marukva le Rabbi Elazar. Marukva sent to Rabbi Elazar a question. There's people who are up against me. Rashi says, they're being becharef, they're blasphemous, and I have the ability to give them over to the king. What should I do? He wrote a line. In those days, they'd write a pasuk, they'd write in the Geras, you'd have to do sirtut. And he said, Amarti eshero drochai mechatoi ilshoini eshero lefi machzim beid rasha lenegdi. I said that eshero lefi eshero drochai mechatoi, I will guard my ways from sin. Mechati bilshoini, from sinning with my tongue. Eshmona lefi machzim, I'll put a machzim like a what's it called on my mouth. A thing
I
that
will keep a curb,
a muzzle.
C-U-R-B.
Boyd Russia the Negdi, while the Russia is opposite me. Alpha Bisha Russia the Negdi, Eshmona lefi machzim. Even though there's a Russian opposite me, I will put a muzzle on my mouth. Shalach leikom mitzari tuva v'lei metzina deigam bahu. He sent to him that they're causing me a lot of pain and I'm not able to withstand the suffering. Shalach le, doim la'Hashem v'yischei. What is he? How does he translate doim la'Hashem? Doim la'Hashem. In other words, be quiet and daven to Hashem. V'hu yapilam l'chalalim l'chalalim. He will be the one to cause chalalim, many dead bodies will pile up. Hashkim v'harav in the base of Medrash, get up early and late to the base of Medrash, and they are going to die by themselves. They're going to be finished by themselves. So it's very interesting. Tosfos teaches what does doim mean? Literally, it means quiet. Tosfos says doim is dimdumei chama. Getting up early and going late to the base of Medrash, the sun, with the last rays of the sun. It left the mouth. This word left the mouth of Rabbi Elazar, and they put Geneva in the koilar, in the special place where they would kill those who were murdered, malchus, those who would rebel against the king. Shochle the Marukva. They sent to Marukva a question. This was Marukva before. It was Marukva sending a question to Rabbi Elazar. Now they sent to Marukva a question. Zimra and Oland Osler, what is the source that is forbidden to sing in the wedding halls? Sirtit v'koselo tismach Yisrael el gil koamim. Says in the pasuk, don't be joyous like the joy of the nations. Why doesn't he send from a different pasuk, the pasuk in Yeshaya, Bashirla Yishayoyin Yemar Shecher L'Shaisov? It should be Mar the Shecher L'Shaisov to those who drink it. Yemar. So it says Bashirla Yishtumayin. You shouldn't use song when you drink wine. Ima who have you might think that's only with mana with Caleb. Like Rashi says, like a harp. But maybe if you sing with your mouth, it's mutter kamash and even with your mouth, it's forbidden. Ravuna barav Nosen told Ravashi, Kino v'dimuna ve'adada. Pasuk says, V'kino v'dimoino ve'adoda. What's the translate? How do you translate this?
Which words? Kina? They don't translate that. They don't translate the word kina. Kina?
What do you translate the word kina?
Well, they're cities, aren't they?
Oh, we told them it's cities in Eretz Yisrael.
Yes.
Do I not know that they're talking about cities? Rather, Rav Gvia from Margiza said a reason on this. In other words, he expounded the meaning behind the names of the cities. Anybody who has kina al chaveroi, Rashi explains kina means kas because of the tsar, it's tziaroi. Person causes you suffering, so you have anger against him. The doimim, and you're quiet. That's the next. The dimoina is the doimim. Adiyada isileidin adodo, the Avishter, the one who's who's forever. He's the one who's going to make judgment. With Tziklog Umadmana v'Sansana Hachanami, should also be able to tie choice to explain. But for Agvia would be here, he would have explained these cities also. And then someone else stepped up. Ravacha from Bechayzah, he said at the Taich, somebody who has suffering that he's not able to have parnosa. Legima is like to drink, but tziklag, tzakas, legima, because somebody's being yerded into your parnosa. V'doivem, and you're quiet. That's the next city. V'dimoino, sheikhin besneh, besansana, umadmana. Umadmana is the next one. Besansana is sheikhin besneh, isolate din. The Eibusher is in the sneh, is going to do a din. It's going to do judgment for you. Omer le reish galusa le Rav Huna. Reish Galusa, the Reish Galusa told Rav Huna, Klila minolan das. They would make atoris lechasanim, crowns for chasanim, like special golden plated talisim with gold and silver, and it was beautiful. And so Rashi says there were some that were made out of Erd and Hadas. We already spoke about it, out of the rose and the myrtle branches. How do we know that it's forbidden? It's rabbinic. It's not b'pumba shalas pasyonos. We said in the Mishna, we had it before. We had it in Maseches Soita. I'm sorry. In the end of Maseches Soita, we had it. B'pumba shalas pasyonos. When the Aspasionis came the first time against Yerushalmi, Gozra Latoris Chasanim Val Eirus. They were goyzer against the Toras Chasanim and the Eirus, which is a certain type of musical instrument. But Hochikam Rav Huna la'afnuye. In the meantime, Rav Huna came. I think he needed to go to the restroom. Over there, Rav Chisda told him, Kroksiv, there's a pasuk, Koyamar Hashem Elikim Hosra Mitznefes, B'Horem HaTorah. Take off the mitznefes and lift up the Torah. Zois loy, zois hashafolo hagbeya v'agavoya hashpo. The one who's low will be lifted up. The one who's up will be lifted low. But why are we comparing the mitznefes to the Torah? To tell you, bisman shem mitznefes b'reish kohen gadol, Torah b'reish kol adam. When the mitznefes is in the head of the kohen gadol, there's an Torah on the head of every person. Istalkim mitznefes b'reish kohen gadol. In other words, by the korban, when there's no kohen gadol, doesn't have mitznefes. So then istalka Torah b'reish kol adam. The reason why Rav Chisda only was doirish when Rav Huna left to go to the restroom was because Rav Chisda was the Talmud. He wouldn't be doirish when he was in front of him. So that only when he left did Rav Chisda say that there's a pasuk. Rav Huna, however, said it's midrabana. Adochi also Rav Huna. In the meantime, Rav Huna came back. Ashkechinu would have a yasfe. He saw that they were sitting.
7. Because I couldn't find yours.
What? It should have been there.
He said, it's really midrabana. He gave
You were pretty low. You had only 7%.
Your words are pleasant. It's only forbidden midrabanan. Says Rashi, the pasuk is talking about that Torah shel Melech, that the Melech and the Kohen Gadol are both going to lose their crown, the crown mitzvahs. But your words are good and your words are pleasant. More goes on. Ravina found that Ravashi was preparing a kalila for his daughter. Do not learn of this draft. Do not hold this draft. That when we don't have
pretty soon
we can't have the Torah. That's only by men. Not by women.
Somewhere 7A.
My zois loy zois. What does the pasuk mean when it says zois loy zois? What is zois loy zois? When the Eibusher told the Yidden, take off the mitznefes and the Torah. Angels told the Eibusher,
right near the end of 7A.
This is what you're giving to the Yidden, that they're maktim nasa the nishma. Is this not deserving for the Yidden? Because they were mashpil the gavoya. They brought low those who were worthy of being brought high, and they brought high those who were being brought low. And they're ma'amid tzelem b'heichel, they put it tzelem in the heichel, so therefore this is their punishment. We're now 6 lines from the bottom of Zayin Amud Aleph of 7a. Kodesh Rav Avida expounded Zimra B'le Mishmei Deravam, Zimra Mishmei Deravasi. Ma'id Chsiv Koyam Ar Hashem Im Shlomim V'chein Rabim V'chein Nagoizu Over V'inisich Lo Ya'anechoy. What does this mean? Im Lo Yodom Shem Zoynoisav Mitzumtzomim. If a person sees Shleimim, Rashi says means Mitzumtzomim. So if you see that your mezoinis are just enough, yes, and Koshkin Rabba, if there's a lot, you should make them stock. Koshkin Kshem Merubim. My V'cheina Goizu V'ovar. What does mean V'cheina Goizu V'ovar? Tana Devira B'Shmuel Kol HaGoiz is Minachos. If you cut from your if you're crossing a river, if you're gozus, you're able to cross. If you're sheared, so if you shear from your property and you give tzedakah, nitzol medina shel Gehinnom, you're going to be saved from the din of Gehenna. There was 2 shepselach that were crossing the water. One had sheared its wool. One wasn't. The one who was sheared was able to cross. One who wasn't sheared wasn't able to cross. What is v'nisich? Amar Mazutro. Afilu ani am isparnis. We're on Zayin Amud Beis now. 7b. Afilu ani am isparnis min tzedakah. A poor person who's being is getting his parnosa sustenance from tzedakah. Yaseh tzedakah. He should do tzedakah. Lo ya'anichoy. Tan Rav Yosef Shumein Marle Shumein Marle Simei. He's not going to have any more. Anius, inisich, your poor people. I'm not going to cause them to be poor anymore if they give tzedakah, even if they themselves receive. If they give to others what they have, they're not going to be poor anymore. There's not going to be any more poverty.
Found it right.
We're now in Zayin Amud Beis 7b, 3 lines from the top. Okay, Rav Yehuda Berekem the Mizrach. We're in the next part of the Mishnah. Rav Yehuda says from Rekem to the Mizrach is, and Rekem is Kemizrach. That's what Rav Yehuda says. So we're dealing with the din that if you bring a get, Mimdina Sayam, you have to say before funny enough. So what's Mimdina Sayam? Within Eretz Yisrael is no problem. So Rav Yehuda says, Rekem Mizrach, Rekem Kemizrach. From Rekem to the east, and Rekem is like the east. Ashkan to the daughter, from Ashkan to the south, and Ashkan is like the south. Akka Litzofen, Akka Kitzofen. From Akka to the north, and Akka is like the north. The west, we don't have a problem. The western side. Why? Because the west is the Yamagot, the big sea, the Mediterranean. Okay, the Gemara asks a question. The Memra, the Akid that's funny there to Sol Taima. You're going to tell me Akid's on the northern side of Eretz Yisrael, but Amino, there's a contradiction. It says Hoya Malach Makid Gziv. Let's say you're walking from Akid to Gziv. On your right side to the east is it's Tamim because of Eretz Amim. There's Gzera min HaChachamim. The Chacham made Gzera that Eretz Amim is Tamim causes tumor. Uftura min HaMaiser. You're potter from tithing because anything that's grown in Chutz Aretz is you don't have to tithe. Min HaShvis Shmita until you know for a fact that it's high. We smile the midah, but on the left side, haderach tohira mishum eretz amim. It's going to be tar because of eretz amim. V'chayeves b'maiser v'shvis had sheyoida l'chosh yiftura until you know for a fact that it's butter. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry. So we're talking about a case that you're walking from Makkah to Chziv. You can see there's a little bit of a map in Eretz Yisrael in the Rashi. There's a small map.
Oh, is there?
And it seems like you're walking to the north. You're walking from Akkay up north.
What's in the north?
Kiziv is more northern. It seems like Akkay is on the eastern boundary of Eretz Yisrael, and Kiziv is on the northeast boundary, and you're walking along the border from the east up north, and that's why on your right is considered Chutz La'aretz, and on your left is Eretz Yisrael. That's what we read that. That's what it makes it sound like. So we say again, you're walking from the east northern, on the eastern border, you're walking up north. So on your right side, further east, it's considered Tameh, it has two Maser Tameh, it's two Mina Meiser, and it's Potter, you're exempt from Meiser Mina Shviz.
Is this the first diagram of Rashi or the second?
What?
He has two diagrams. Rashi has two.
We're going to see there's going to be an answer. There's going to be a. That's the first one. It's just to give you an idea. This is not. Soon the Gemara is going to answer the diagram of Rashi actually. Actually, it's chayev until you know for a fact it's chayev. You can assume that you're on the eastern extremity of Eretz Yisrael. So anything to your right is Chutz La'aretz. Anything to your left is Eretz Yisrael. Mismailu the minor, but they're it's Tar b'Shemet Tzam. Chayev is from Meiser b'Shvius. You're chayev. You're obligated in Meiser and Shvi such a day until you know for a fact that it's possible. At Heichen Gziv until Gziv, which sounds like Gziv is the most northern part of Eretz Yisrael. So why did we say in the Mishnah that Akkay is? Vishma bar Rabbi Yossi Shemoviv Ad Lav Levoy. So Chezkas Yamin, there's a bucket will tell you that there's a certain what's it called? A certain indentation, then fine. But otherwise, we assume that Akkay is on the east, and Kiziv is the most north. Okay, Rabbi Shmuel holds a different place, Lav Lavoy. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So we see clearly that Akkay is not the most northern part. Kiziv is the most northern part. So why do we say Akkay is? Ritzua Nafka. Vaya says really Akkay is northern. But there is a little ritzua, a little strip of land which goes more north. But Akkay is basically the north. And
the ritzua.
V'yoiv Tana Simona Hochi. Frag the Gemara, the Tana is going to give you a ganzen simon like this because of a small ritzua. Says the Gemara.
Yeah, now ritzua is Aza, isn't it? Today. Ritzua Aza.
We call it Ritzuat Aza, that's true.
So I don't know, but Rashi had a different sense of geography. It seems that way.
No,
but the Rebbe explained, the Rebbe wrote about Rashi apparently, and it explained the seemingly what they call it, inaccurate statements, and explained that they're quite accurately explained why. You know what I mean?
No, we're talking about that there was a little strip of land between Akkay and Kiziv, but really Akkay was northern part. It's just that there was a small strip of land. So practically what the Tana is going to be, Yerudat, they can't tell you so many details because of a small strip of land. So the Gemara says yes. We have a pasuk that gives us him the Ksiva Yomi Nechag Hashem b'Shiloi b'Yom Yamim shemitzpoinu leBeisel mizucha Hashemesh the Mesila ha'ila miBeisel Shchemo minegav leLevoino. But Marav Papa the Mizrocha shemasila. There's the pasuk says that Shiloi is mitzpoinu leBeisel. So probably so if you look in there's a little bit of a map. Mitzvoino the Beisel. There's Beisel is the Dorim. Shila is a little bit Tzvoino. And then it says Mizcha Shomesh. What is that talking about? There's a certain Mesila that was going from Beisel to Shechem. And that's what we're talking about. It was Mizcha Shomesh, the Mizracha of the Mesila. So the pasuk is also talking about a Mesila. When we're talking
Mesila,
about,
does it mean highway in this case?
A path.
Mesila or a path?
A path.
Oh, okay.
It's southern from Levina. Levina is in the other corner. You can see in this map. Tonachado maybe get Besvina can maybe better Yisrael. There's one opinion in the Brisa that says that if you bring a get on a svina, in other words, in the rivers of Eretz Yisrael, it's also considered like Eretz Yisrael, even though you're in the water. Betani idoch can maybe b'chul. There's another opinion is as if you bring it in chutz la'aretz, so you'd have to say b'fanei nechta b'fanei nechta. Because the river doesn't have the din of a yabasha. So there's a contradiction. It's a machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachavim. It's not, it says in the Mishnah, if you have the earth of chutz la'aretz that comes on a ship there to Yisrael, it's going to be chayev b'maiser uveshvis. Rashi says we're talking about the svina is made out of earthenware, and it doesn't need a hole. So if it's as long as it's bekarka, so even if it's on the river, it's going to be chayev b'maiser uveshvis. Because the moment it goes into the river, the earth turns into the earth of Eretz Yisrael, even though you brought the earth from chutz la'aretz. It's only if it's actually touching the ground. But if the ship is not touching the ground, potter, it's going to be exempt from Shemitah Maisha because the rivers are not considered like Eretz Yisrael. So that's the opinion of Rabbi Yirmiyah. Abaye says, both opinions are Rabbi Yehuda of Kasha. It's not a question. One is talking about if the ship is not touching, and one is talking about if the ship is touching. So really, when we say that one brisa says if you bring a get on a ship, it's as if you're bringing it in Eretz Yisrael. It's only talking about if the ship is touching the ground. Again, it seems to be a little bit of a forced interpretation. Abzeda says, if you have an earthenware pot which is on Yisedis, which has a hole in it, this is a machlekes of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. According to the Chachamim, even if it's in the avir, like we said, even if it's in the water, so too, even if it's in the avir, it's as if it's on the ground. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it has to be touching the ground. That's what Rav Zeta wants to say. Rava says, maybe not. Maybe it's only by a ship because it's going the whole time. It has to be actually in the ground in order for it to be considered touching the ground. Now. But if it's a plant, that doesn't move, no. Inami or maybe the Chum are only talking about in a ship that there's no air. Because the water is like a thick earth. But a potted plant where there's avir, maybe not. We're 5 lines in. If we're talking about the Nahadis of Eretz Yisrael, everybody will agree it's considered like Eretz Yisrael, even if the ship is not touching the ground. Because the reason of get is not like Meiser, where it has to be yonik minakarka, it has to be having its nourishment from the ground. No, as long as you're in the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, so it doesn't matter. Everyone will agree that if in the rivers of Eretz Yisrael, when it comes to get, you're going to be considered like an Eretz Yisrael. The machlekes is the Yam HaGodol, which is the Mediterranean. This is the machlekes. One opinion is the Yam HaGodol is not part of Eretz Yisrael. The other opinion is that it is part of Eretz Yisrael. The Tanya, it says in the Bryce, what's Eretz Yisrael and what's chutz la'aretz? Anything going from the Turei Amnoin and inwards is the northern, that's the northern boundaries. From Turei Amnoin and out, that's chutz la'aretz. So towards the south from this mountain, the slope of the inward part of the slope is considered Eretz Yisrael. From the outward part of the slope to the north is chutz la'aretz. Hanasin shabayam reinasin kilachut masuach aleim. What about the nasin, the islands? You have little islands in the Mediterranean. What are they considered? You have to make a line, a straight line. Mituri Amda Nachum Mitzrayim. from the northern border until the southern border, the Nachal Mitzrayim. It's from the string and inwards is Eretz Yisrael. From the string and outwards is Chutz Yisrael. He says the whole water opposite Eretz Yisrael is like Eretz Yisrael. Shemer Gvul Yam, Yam Agadol. It says, what's the Gvul Yam? What's the western boundary? The Yam Agadol. Gvul Zeh Yelachem Gvul Yam. What about Vanas and Shibet Statin? What if you have islands? The islands will be, let's say you have an island going past the northern boundary. So then, from Kafloria until the Ukyonis, from Nachum Mitzrayim until the Ukyonis, Kafloria is the northern extremity of the border. Until you hit dry land, even the islands, it's all considered Eretz Yisrael. I don't think there's Allah. Huh?
A match?
It's not gonna work. We could try maybe more cheap. But Rabbanan Hayu Gvul Mayavdile, what are the Chachamim going to use for the Gvul? The Baile the Nasim, they need it for the islands. But we don't need a pasuk for the islands within the boundaries. We need it to teach you that the Yam HaGadol is also considered part of Eretz Yisrael, the whole Yam HaGadol. That's a big chiddush. All right, we have just a few minutes to do a little bit of Yerushalmi. We're up to 2 dots now on Ches Amud Aleph. Oh. We're on the top of Gimel Amud Aleph in the Yerushalmi, Maseches Gittin, 2 lines in. I think it's in the middle of 1:7 actually in Safaria.
1:7?
I think so.
Go to the paragraph 7. Let me show you. Did you say Perak Daled?
No, the Perak Rishon, Gimel Amud Aleph.
Zayin. Just a second.
1:7. Perak Gimel, Perak Aleph, Gimel Amud Aleph in my Gemara. From 3.
Oh, it's going to take me a minute to figure this out. Computer. Hold on a minute. So Eric.
David, where are you starting in the Gemara? What line?
We're on the second line in and Daf Gimel Amud Aleph.
Okay.
So again, what Perak is it?
Perak Rishon.
Rishon. And which halacha? Daled?
No, Halacha Aleph.
Halacha Aleph. So we're right at the beginning.
What?
We're right at the beginning of the Masechta?
Yeah, we're still in the beginning of Maseches Gittin, of course.
In the Yerushalmi.
Not right in the beginning. We're in the middle of Halacha Aleph.
Middle of Halacha Aleph, Perak Aleph. In the middle. That's the Mishna, isn't it? Oh, the Mishna, the Gemara. So how does it start?
It's 1:7 in the middle.
Rav Yossi. Oh, I can't find it.
Okay, whatever. I'll just start reading. Hopefully you'll find it soon. There was Chinino, the son of Ravasi. Havamesa, who was a doctor. According to the Korban Eidah, he changes the Girsa to he was Mesukon, he was in danger. According to the Pnei Moshe Hayameson, he was in a place. The Zara Gittin, he'd say he threw a get to his wife. Omer la hare gitech. He told her it's your get. Sovchas. She started screaming. Va'alun megerto. Her shchenim came. Chatfei mino. They grabbed the get from her. V'yoavla niyar cholak, and they gave her a blank piece of paper. Masa uvdo came rabbanan v'choshun. The chachamim were chayshesh that it's considered a get. According to the Karban Eda, she wouldn't be allowed to marry a kohen, or maybe her husband was a kohen, so she couldn't remarry him. Frag the Gemara of Leikein Omer Rabbi Yasa b'Shem Rabbi Yochanan. Didn't Rabbi Yasa say the name of Rabbi Yochanan? Nivdak Hashem v'nimtzah mipinoshim piktanim batul Hashem. If she has a reputation in a town that she's megureshes, she's considered megureshes. What if they researched and they realized that the rumor came from Noshim Miktanim? She's not considered Megureshes, so why? It's from her neighbors. And for the Gemara, over there, they thought she was Megureshes. Here, however, they heard him tell her, this is your get. And it just got lost because they grabbed it out of her hands or whatever. These
Got enough now. You got 22. So 5 more minutes class. So you'll have enough. Okay?
Okay.
Enough charge.
These the boy maybe mother get kosher or even to tzavchas. Some people say that if he said they had to have known from the beginning that it was a get kosher. So if they grabbed it and they gave her a yar cholok, it wouldn't be anything. But if not for the fact, even if he told her hagitech, maybe there was a psul, so therefore there's a lenience because they grabbed it away. Rabbi Yermi asked the question: what if they wrote it in Eretz Yisrael and they signed it in Chutz Laaretz, and then they went to give it to her in Chutz Laaretz? They couldn't find her in Chutz Laaretz. Eretz Yisrael. Then they found her in Eretz Yisrael. Do you have to say? So what's the din? Because they gave it to her in Chutz Laaretz, even if it was signed in Chul, because the Nesina was in Eretz Yisrael, maybe you don't have to say it. The Gemara says, you do have to. You have to say so the Gemara now says, that's because it was written in Eretz Yisrael and signed in Chutz Laaretz. But if it was written and signed in Eretz Yisrael, and then they went to give it to her in Chutz Laaretz and they couldn't find her. And they found her in Eretz Yisrael. Then you're not going to have to say because it was also signed. Because the chsima was in Eretz Yisrael. But if the chsima was in Chutz Laaretz, then you have a problem. If he gave her a get, he gave her a get, and he gave the get in her chotzer and akai. And afterwards, she said, "My chotzer and akai should be mezaka for me the get, which is in my chotzer." It's as if her hand is long and she's able to take her get. She doesn't have to be standing beside her chotzer, according to Pnei Moshe. Her chotzer is mishameres. Her chotzer is watched, so therefore it's considered as if she's koine. She acquires the get. Now, maybe you don't have to. You should have to say who cares if her arm is long, but it's is considered like in Chutz Laaretz. So how does it help? What about saying that it was in front of me? It was written in time. Who said not? You have to do and she doesn't have to be standing next to her chutz, but you do have to say Rebbe asked in front of Rabbana, if you have a man and wife that were holding on to a get, they're grabbing a get. Here met a zechisi. She said, I was zoich on the get, it's my get. She wants to be divorced. He says, no, you weren't zoiche. You just grabbed it. This is a machlekes of Bitzulchayr will say this is a machlekes of Rebbe and Rishim Gamliel. Tiflukta the Rebbe of Rishim Gamliel Spalgun. They have a machlekes. We're on the next page now. Gimel and base for those who have this Gemara. Hamalva v'aloiva shayitfusin b'shtar. If you have a malva and a loiva that were grabbing onto a shtar, a lender and a borrower that were grabbing onto a shtar. Malva imr shaliu shalvad me many. The lender said it's mine. I lost it, so I want to still get paid my debt. But loiva imr shaliu shafrnativ loch. The loiva says it's mine and I paid you. Sky mashtar b'chaysma divrei Rebbe. Rebbe says it belongs if the Malve is able to be Mekayim the Shtar B'chaisma, if he's able to establish the validity of the documents, then he gets half, he gets 50-50. Shimon Gamliel says even without the Kiyum, you could split it. Rabbi Lazar, really, whoever's holding, Rabbi Lazar's different opinion, really, if one of them is holding the place where the Eidim are, where the signatures of the witnesses are, and the other one is holding the rest of the star, it really falls to the person who's holding where the signatures are. Eidim signed in a long part of the document, they're both grabbing on the Eidim, where the Eidim are. So therefore, we want to say the same thing. If they're arguing about the ksuba, she says she wants her ksuba. He says you'll get your ksuba. So if they're grabbing onto the Eidim, according to Shimon Gamliel, they'll split the ksuba 50-50. According to Rebbe, you have to mekayim it b'chaismav. If one of them is going to be grabbing onto the Eidim, then you'll get the ganze document. Amar le'divra kilhi. Here is different. Why? Here, even if the whole get is in her hands, but one string is in his hand, ain't a get. It's not a get. It has to be fully in her hands. Get just 2 or 3 more minutes. I'm going to go to the Mishna. Lazar asked a question on the Chachamim. His question is like this. It says, maybe get just like if you're going from one province to another, you're going to have to say that in front of me it was written and signed. So too, you should have to say even within Eretz Yisrael. So Rabbi Lazar said, you should also have to say, why do you argue with me, the Chachamim? Maise b'yachad shevius aget milamina shel kesarin. It was a certain area of kesarin. Also, the kemer of Baba Omer lein tzarchlema v'nechtam v'nechtam. Ve'in lamina shel kesarin kesarin. They asked him if you have to say it. He said, in yes, you have to say b'fanei. So the Gemara asks, why do you have to say it? It's not part of the same town. It was a ship in the sea, and from the ship you brought from the sea. And a ship, even though it's from Eretz Yisrael, you have to say it. But Tony Kane, maybe get mina svina. So if you bring a get from a ship, it's as if you're bringing from Chutzaretz. It's actually so because it was from a ship, you have to bring. If there was one, according to Shimon Gamliel, who says you have to have 2 igmonias from Shas Ksiva and Shas Nesina. But if there was one igmonia during the time of the writing and then it turned into 2, then you don't have to say it. If 2 became 1, you also are not going to have to say it.
I just it in time.
All right. Okay, I guess we'll stop here. We're up to the Mishnah on the Halacha Beis now in the Yerushalmi.